What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another Marvel's Avengers build video, and in this build video I'm going to be showcasing to you guys my Hawkeye infamous heroic recharge build. Shout out to the homie Sanfran for the name for this build video. Now let's get it started. Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed that clip that I just showcased to you guys with me spamming as many heroics as I want and also recharging my heroics fast as possible. With this build, it's all about getting your heroics fast as possible and also spamming your heroics. And with this build, you can use it in any type of content that's currently in the game, and it is one of my many Hawkeye endgame content builds. So let's get it started with the stats first. So let's bring up the full breakdown of all my stats. So when you're building this type of build, you want to make sure you aim for the heroic rating and the range rating. With the heroic rating, you definitely want to make sure you can get that high as possible, but that will depend on the gear that you're using. But with the gear that I'm using, I'll showcase to you guys what kind of stats they have. And then also with this type of build, having a decent range rating doesn't hurt, and also a decent defensive rating. When we're looking at the full breakdown now of the stats, you want to make sure you actually pay attention to not even just the proficiency, precision, and valor. You want to actually go down to the bottom and pay attention to your ultimate heroic charge rate, your assault heroic charge rate, and your support heroic charge rate. And you guys can see right here that my support heroic charge rate is a little bit higher than my ultimate and assault, and that's because of the artifacts that I'm using. So now, it's a fun part. I'm going to show you guys what gear I use and also where you can get this gear. Moving on to the gear right now, so let's go ahead and get started with what gear I use and where to get the gear. So the first thing I'm going to showcase to you guys is the major artifact. I use a Darkhold. To use this, you want to make sure you use up all your heroic abilities while you're fighting enemies or bosses. And if you activate this Darkhold after that, you will lose your health, like you'll lose 50% of the health, but you'll get all your heroics back. And this is a really good artifact when it comes to this build. It regenerates your heroics. But again, make sure you use up all your heroic abilities and then use it. And then once your health gets cut down to 50%, once you have all your heroics back, use a recovery arrow, your support heroic ability on Hawkeye, to recover that health that you lost. Next is a minor artifact. This comes with triple valor 64. Comes with the support assistance that helps you with your support heroic recharge ability, and it comes with powerful breaker, 11.3 increased damage from power attacks. You can actually get this artifact from the Pacific Northwest vendor that has those minor artifacts. So that vendor is Sydney Levine in the Pacific Northwest. So you can definitely get this artifact from there. You just might need to check after daily reset every day when you're in game, because every day it does change. And for my offline date farmers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide you guys an offline date for certain pieces of gear. So I'll give you an offline date for this artifact so you guys can get it easily. The next one I use is a Nornstone of the Bulwark with proficiency, precision, and valor. I got very lucky with this one. This one is a rare drop because it will take you some time to get this piece with the right stats and the right perk. The perk I like with this is the Pinpoint Vibranium Payload. So Pinpoint relates to ranged critical attacks. And using this artifact right here, 28% chance that ranged critical attacks will activate a Vibranium Payload on an enemy target. And for a tip to my Hawkeye players is when you use Hunter's Arrow, your ultimate heroic ability, and you have this artifact equipped, you're going to be also activating a Vibranium Payload on those enemy targets. And the great thing about this, combined with the Hunter's Arrow ultimate ability, your Hunter's Arrow ultimate heroic ability will activate shock damage, while this will activate the Vibranium Payload. So good artifact to use right here, and you can get this from either the Discordant Sound regular raid or the Discordant Sound Elite raid. And another way to get this is also during the Corrupted Vibranium event. So if we go through here, you can see certain characters have objectives that you can complete, which awards you with an artifact and a gear piece. And also during the Corrupted Vibranium event, there are missions like this. The one mission I'll highly recommend, especially when it comes to farming minor artifacts for any of your heroes, is Corrupted Vibranium, Here Comes a Pain. Reason being is it's a very quick mission that you guys complete, and you have a rare chance that you can get that artifact after you complete it. But again, it is going to take you some time to farm. You're probably better off waiting for the Corrupted Vibranium event to come back and then farm it from there. But if you get lucky from the raid, kudos to you. I got this from the Corrupted Vibranium event, but man, I was lucky. Precision, proficiency, and valor. Amazing stats on an amazing piece of artifact. So that's the minor artifacts and the major artifact. Now we're going to go ahead to the heroic piece. So a couple options for the heroic piece. I use Eagle's Kit with precision and valor. You can get the new one because this is the OG one that I'm using. You can actually get this from the Elite Weekly Vaults that happen every week during weekly reset. The reason I like this is because it gives me the extra Nightstorm arrow charge, and it also comes with the Hunter multiplier for your ultimate heroic ability. But the key component and the key perk of this heroic piece is Hunter Overcharge. Activating Hunter's Arrow instantly boosts the overcharge meter. The overcharge meter is the meter under your health bar, and then Locked On is triggered when fully overcharged. So Hunter Overcharge really goes well with my melee piece, which is the Light Buff Edge. So this comes with precision and valor. However, the reason I like the Hunter Arrow Overcharge is because of the last perk I have on this piece called Rampant Assistance. 2.2 increase heroic charge rate while overcharged. So again, when you activate your ultimate heroic ability from your heroic piece right here, you will instantly activate as well the Rampant Assistance, and this will help you recharge your heroics. So going back to this, if you don't have the OG one with the extra Nightstorm, you can actually use this Eagle's Kit, and again from the weekly Elite Vaults. And to show you an example of what those vaults look like. So where is it? So here's an example of an Elite Weekly Vault. So you have a rare chance of getting it from here, but it changes every week, so just keep that in mind. So I use this personally when I'm fighting groups of enemies. When it comes to a boss, I do prefer to have a damage buff, so I'll actually switch to the Tempered Combat Bow with Berserker buff. This doesn't instantly overcharge me, however, it will help me activate that damage buff. And it will still be very beneficial because when you do attack an enemy and you don't get hit, there is a chance you will automatically get overcharged anyways. But you just need to make sure you are in a safe distance when you're fighting a boss especially. But this piece right here will award you, or will give you, that damage buff that you might want to look for when you're fighting, you know, either a boss or if you're fighting groups of enemies as well. Comes with Valor and Precision, and I actually got that gear piece from the Helicarrier vendor, which is Roy. If we go all the way over here. Another piece that you have to check during daily reset because it does change every day. So he will have that gear piece with hopefully the right stats and the right perks down here. And to change this, if you're on PlayStation, if you just quickly hit the touchpad multiple times, you'll see the gear will quickly change. I have to do this often, so you can see it right there. It did change. So you can use that heroic piece. So again, going back to this, the Berserker buff can come from that, or you can also have a rare chance to run elite hives or regular hive missions from the war table, and there's a chance at the end of the mission you can get this gear piece as well. But yeah, I'll use this most likely in a lot of different scenarios. If I really want to roll with the damage buff, I'll use this one with the Berserker buff. If I'm fighting a lot of groups of mobs of enemies, I mean a lot of enemies, I'll use the regular Eagles kit, the OG one with the extra Night Storm, and then with the instant Hunter Overcharge. So many options with your heroic pieces, but I highly again recommend the Temper Combat Bow, or the Eagles Kit OG, or the new one with Rampant Boon. And make sure it does come with Precision and Valor, because those are two key components that you want to go for. Moving on to the defensive slot, Discordant Battle Armor. Since this is like a Night Storm heroic charge build, recharge build, I will go with the Reverberation Breaker as a second perk and Night Storm Destruction. This comes from the Discordant Sound regular raid or the Elite raid, or during the Corrupted Vibranium event when you're completing your Hawkeye mission chain. There's a chance you can get it from there, or the main Corrupted Vibranium objective. There's also a chance you can get it from there. If you get Valor and Precision, that's really good because it'll increase your range and heroic rating. However, if you get a Resilience, it doesn't hurt because that is your defense. So I have it with Resilience, Valor, and Precision, and I personally got this from the Discordant Sound regular raid. It comes with Night Storm Destruction and Reverberation Breaker. The reason I like Reverberation Breaker because it goes well with my Nornstone of the Bulwark Pinpoint Vibranium Payload artifact. So you can see the description right there. Inflict 25% additional damage to enemies afflicted by an active Vibranium status effect. So that's your Vibranium status effect right there. And then, like I mentioned about Night Storm Destruction. So that is the defensive piece that I'm using. Now moving on to the range piece. This is a very important piece to have. If you don't have this piece, it's not going to help your build at all. Especially this type of build that I'm showcasing you guys right now. That is the Targeted Spark Tachyon Surge range piece. And make sure you can get this with Precision and Valor. Mine came with Might, Precision, and Valor. Targeted Spark, chance a range critical attack grants a heroic charge burst that regenerates your heroic energy while active. Then I got Cosmic Razor. That's probably the only thing I will change. If I can get it with Pulsar Arrow, or let's say, man, I'm drawing a blank right now, Cluster Arrow, I'd rather have that instead of Cosmic Razor Arrow, but it is what it is. Regardless, when you're using your range power attacks, you will be able to activate the Targeted Spark. That'll help you regenerate your heroic abilities. So very good piece to have, and it also comes with Targeted Tachyon Surge. So you can get this during the Tachyon Anomaly event. That's probably the best way to farm for it. Another way to farm for it is if we go to the war table. Let's go to the Snowy Tundra. So we have the Beating the Odds Villain Sector. So every week during weekly reset, if you run this, there is a chance where you might be able to get a legendary or exotic version of that gear piece I've just showcased to you. But very rare. I honestly would prefer you guys to farm the Tachyon Anomaly event when that mission comes back, or the mission chains come back, so you have a chance to get it. And if you're a safe scummer, you'll have a better chance of getting it as well. And then the third way to get it is Tachyon Rift missions. However, the Tachyon Rift missions have a very low drop rate when it comes to those type of gear pieces. So make sure you guys can get this, especially for this infamous heroic recharge build that I'm showcasing to you right now. You can also, again, like I said, get a legendary version as well, which doesn't hurt. But you definitely need the targeted spark with the targeted Tachyon Surge with Precision and Valor. So that's a range piece. Now going back to the melee piece that I showed you earlier. Light buff edge, Precision and Valor comes with the Plasma split shot with rampant assistance, and like I mentioned, the heroic piece right here, Eagle's Kit, goes very well with this piece right here because it helps you recharge your heroic abilities a little bit quicker when you're overcharged. And if you're not, let's say again, going back to the Berserker buff, you can still use this because if you instantly do get overcharged, then at least you will have your damage buff. And then you will have your rampant assistance going on too. So this gear piece, you can actually get this from the Anthill Outpost. It is a rare gear piece because you have to check every day as well during daily reset to see if the Anthill vendors have this. I do have an offline date for this, which I will provide just to help you guys out. An alternative choice that you guys can also use is the Gamma version. This one comes with 2.1 increased heroic recharge rate or charge rate while overcharged, but with Gamma split shot, Valor intensity precision. This comes from the Pacific Northwest vendor, which is Roy. If you check every day during daily reset, he also has a chance to have this in his, vendor gear, whatever. So you can get the split shot with Gamma, with the rampant assistance, or the Plasma. I personally like using the Plasma just because I feel like Plasma hits a little bit harder than Gamma, but Gamma also works well as, if you want. But really good, split shot pieces right here. And if you're, let's say, running the Discordant Sound regular raid and you're fighting Claw at the end, just switch to the Vibranium because this is not really going to affect them as much. You definitely want to use Vibranium on Claw only. But all the other missions in the game, you can use the Plasma or the Gamma. And I have an offline date for the Gamma one as well, which I'll provide. So let's go back to all the gear that I've showcased to you guys. So the major artifact is the Dark Hold. Yellow Isolate is the minor artifact that I'm using with the Pinpoint Vibranium Payload artifact. If you don't have the Pinpoint, you can actually use another, Valor Isolate. It doesn't matter, but if you want that extra status effect going on, use a Pinpoint. But the two Valors do increase your stats a lot, especially on a heroic recharge build. And then I have Eagle's Kit that you guys can use, the OG one, the new one, or you can go with Tempered Combat Bow with the Berserker buff. Defensive slot, Discordant Battle Armor with the Nightstorm Destruction, Reverberation Breaker. Broadhead of the Storms, Targeted Spark, Targeted Tachyon Surge. And then you got the melee slots that I've mentioned with either the Gamma one or the Plasma one. And then when, again, you're fighting Claw, you can use the Vibranium one. So that is the breakdown of all the gear pieces that I use on my infamous heroic recharge build for Hawkeye. Now let's go ahead and move on to skills and showcase to you guys what skills I use. Okay everyone, let's have a look at skills right now and show to you guys what skills I use on this build. So to make sure you have all your skills unlocked, make sure you are at level 50 with your Hawkeye. That'll make sure you will have your primary and specialty and mastery skills all available for you. So let's go ahead into specialty because there's nothing really to show in the primary tree. So with specialty, that consists of your heroic abilities. So recovery arrow first. I use critical care. This gives you a 20% increased critical attack chance buff and a 20% greater weak point and critical attack damage buff. And then you have heroic recharge. Enemies defeated within the recovery arrow radius have a 30% chance to drop a heroic orb. So you definitely want to make sure you spec into these two things right here. Assault heroic ability, which is Nightstorm Arrow. I go with Fire Devil because it is the one that hits the hardest. And then I have Strike Point, increased status buildup for all damage dealt by the Nightstorm Arrow by 30%. And then your ultimate heroic ability, Hunter's Arrow. You have Twin Talons. It fires off 2 Hunter's Arrow, but it also affects your enemies with shock status. And again, when you saw the minor artifact I was talking about with Vibranium Payload, it works very well with this. And then the next thing I spec'd into, Bird in the Hand. Enemies defeated by Hunter's Arrow have a 25% chance to drop a Heroic Orb. So definitely something that will help with your Heroic Recharge. And that is a specialty. Now let's go ahead into Mastery. So with Mastery, I'm just going to quickly give you guys an overview of what I spec'd into. I'm not really going to say much about it until I get to Intrinsic Overcharge. Okay, so Intrinsic Overcharge, let's have a look. Multi-talented, increase melee attack damage by 20% and range damage by 10% while overcharged. And if you guys know, when you go into an overcharged state, this is where the Intrinsic Overcharge tree will actually be very effective. So you want to make sure you spec into this. And then Heroic Resolve, while overcharged, defeating enemies have a 15% chance to spawn Heroic Orbs. So you want to make sure you spec into this. And then last but not least, Critical Might, increase critical attack damage by 20% while overcharged. So 3 things that you guys want to spec into. Moving on into the champion tree and the champion system, which boosts you need to spec into. We'll start off with defensive, obviously fortification. Max this out first for that extra defense. Then I would recommend heroic charge rate boost because this is the heroic recharge build. Then you have perk chance boost. Then you can go into critical chance, critical damage, then status and stun, and then you can spec into anything else. And you can see my Hawkeye is almost maxed out with his champion system. Alright, so that is the end of this Hawkeye Infamous Recharge Heroic build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Show your support by hitting that like and subscribe button. Until next time, I'm out. You guys take care. Peace.